How's it going, everybody? March 8th, Merch by Amazon sales update. Going to do a quick review. I think I'm starting to figure out what's happening with some of my sales. I'll talk about that in a bit. But for you guys that have actually been following my videos over the last couple of weeks, you know that there was a big spike in sales where there were probably 4 or 5 days where I was hitting over 20 sales in the US a day, or close to, maybe between I think it was 15 to 25, let's say. And after maybe 5 days, it dropped and went back to normal. I'll show those charts now. So I'll get into that story, but I wanted to give you the overview of the numbers and then get into that discussion. So right now I'm sitting at 42 sales in the US. This is the US market, $752.51 in total sales for total royalties of $127.39. Now keep in mind what this number is, returns, because that's going to be important for the discussion part. So 1 return so far. This is kind of what the weekly chart looks like. You know, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 7. There was a drop to 2, and then yesterday bounced back to 5, and we'll see how today ends. So far I have 1 sale today in Italy, but clearly, like, overall it has slowed down over the last, I would say, just about a week. Let's say a week and maybe a day or two. My overall sales, I'm sitting at 99. So I'm still averaging over 10 a day, because if we're looking at this, these are my numbers for the first 8 days. I'm recording this first thing in the morning on the 9th, and like I said, there's only 1 sale. So in reality, for the first 8 sales, 8 days, I have 98 sales. First 8 days, 98 sales. It's a little confusing to say. Anyways, so let's see what that average would be. So 99 divided by 8. I'm doing about 12 sales a day. That's the average overall. So if I continue on that track, you know, I'm looking at over 300 sales this month, and then I know that when I hit about 300 sales, my profits or royalties are about $1,000. So, you know, I'll be okay with that. That was my average last year, but again, you know, I always want that to improve. So here's kind of what I've been thinking. Number one, I have to point out that I have 50. What would the math be? 57 sales internationally. So if you add all this up, that would be 57 and 42 in the US. I think this is probably the first month. I would have to look at last month where my international sales, and I understand this is 6 marketplaces versus 1, but it's the first time that my international sales are actually doing better than my US sales. This has never happened before. For me, there was a clear separation between US sales and everything else. And it didn't matter how you add it up and when, the total of my US sales would still always be higher than the rest of the marketplaces. That is not the case anymore. So that's kind of where I am. So I'm extremely happy, you know, to hit 100 in the first 8 or 9 days, you know, to do 12 sales a day on average. But again, that huge drop, and let me show you what I'm talking about for those of you guys who might be watching this for the first time. But so these are just my US sales. I guess I would have to go to the previous month. This is what happened last month. So it went, you know, on the 23rd from 8, like it went from 2, or the average of like 5 during the whole month, spiked to 8, then 23, 27, and then it started going down, and then you saw what happened for this month, which it basically went down to an average of 5 and then never improved. These are my US sales. So here's the theory here, and because it's a theory because we don't have any information from Amazon, so I have to go based on other marketplaces and other platforms that I use. In this case, it would be you know, Etsy and eBay through my Printful integration, because I'm using and selling a lot of the same products and graphics. So because this spike here, it was mostly due to one or two T-shirts, and actually the one T-shirt was text based, kind of like text based, like it was text that would, that was creative. It wasn't even a graphic, but it was just a simple design with letters, which I don't think would cause the drop. But for half of the drop, what happened was when I'm printing that same product and graphic through Printful, and my eBay customers are receiving the item, I received 2 returns out of, I think, something like 12 or 15 sales of the same product for graphic detail. And basically it was poor quality on some of the prints because the colors weren't, for example, it was like different shades of whites and grays, and the detail wasn't exactly the same as it was on the preview, on the actual listing. So the listing and my graphic, it was a very clear picture, like a graphic of something. But then the customers that were requesting refunds on through eBay were showing me pictures, and the print was like, you can still make out the image. It was clear what it was, but it wasn't high quality. It wasn't a high quality print. And what I've noticed is that it didn't happen with all the customers. It was only sometimes, and I don't know how that would happen. Like I just imagine that all the printing machines would give you the same quality of the design, but it looks like it was depending on the location. Like if certain things were being shipped out of the States, there was a higher chance for a low quality graphic. For example, if products were sold in Europe, I didn't get any complaints or refund requests. And so I know that for Printful, I know that, because of the communication that I've had with customers through eBay and Etsy, but I don't know that for merch. I'm just thinking what must have happened at some point is either employees would notice that the graphic was, not the highest quality, and I don't know what kind of a quality assurance process they have. Maybe they mark it as, low quality or something like that. Maybe the customers have initiated returns, but that's why I said at the beginning, the return number is extremely important, because I didn't get any returns yet. So maybe Amazon has higher quality printers and machines, and the graphic looks amazing. But that's just a big maybe, right? So again, because there's no like high percentage of returns, especially, for example, if we were to look at like the number of products that I sold. Let me just load this. So you'll see, for example, last month that, for this product, where is it? They started selling. So for example, all these standard T-shirts are actually like different versions of the same, with the same graphic. And with these kinds of sales, and then my international sales, I actually wonder if I can pull that information up, because I'm going to show you where that, let's see if it, yeah. So these kinds of these products, not this one, these products are the same items, and including this one here too, is the same graphics. So out of, like 50 sales, I'm still not getting those returns that are kind of justifying the huge drop in sales. So I really can't figure out what it was. It just, maybe it was just a very temporary spike in sales, and it's gone back down. It looks like it. I didn't get any notification that my products have been taken down or anything. So it was just like a short-lived spike. And honestly, I called it because I was talking about that in one of my previous videos, basically saying that this happened to me last year, and after 4 days, the sales just dropped back down, and that's kind of where it ended. So, anyways, right now, my overall sales are slowly increasing on average. Like I said, 12.3, so 12 sales a day, and I'm about to crack 100 sales today internationally. The question still remains: do I care about where my sales are coming from? And to be honest with you, absolutely, I care. It's always nice to make $1,000 in royalties a month, but I really want this to just to kind of dominate. I just want this to completely be separate from everything else, but that's not the case. So, anyways, there's kind of like both a positive and a negative here, because I'm still making the same amount of money, but now it just looks like the distribution of sales, or at least the source of sales, is very different than it was last year. But anyways, we'll see where and how we end this month. And but for now, I'm completely happy with this. Doing 100 sales in the first 8 days, perfect. We'll see how it continues, and hopefully you guys are doing well. I'll talk to you soon.